Hello, beautiful moms and entrepreneurs. My name is Sharice Walker, and I'm your host of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. This is a place where we come together to learn, grow, and inspire. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hello, Unbreakable Mompreneurs. So today we are going to talk about a lot of different things. We're going to talk about business. We're going to talk about motherhood. We're going to talk about life in general and being a mom. And so just if you're looking to listen and say, okay, you know what, I need to pick me up. Well, today is your day because Jessica Danel is in the house. And I love her title of her book. It is Bucket List from a Redneck Girl. So we're going to talk about that. So Jessica, without further ado, why don't you introduce yourself to us?
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you having me on today. Yes, I wrote a book called The Bucket List from a Redneck Girl because I'm from a small Northern California town. And I don't know if you know California, but California is a lot of farming. Like it's not just all surfboards and sand. So all the real people live inland. All the other people live on the outskirts. But so yeah, I lived in a Northern California little town. Everybody knew everybody. When I talk about where I'm from, I say Marysville, Yuba City. But in fact, I lived in Linda. And the reason why you say Marysville, Yuba City is because we were the redneck stepchild of the area where I lived. And so we were considered the low end of the area. So my high school was one of the first high school shootings in America. It was 1992. And it didn't get a lot of notoriety because the Rodney King verdict came out on the 29th, and then the riots, and then next day, riots, and then the next day, Monday, was the day of my school shooting. And Eric Houston, everybody knew him. We all knew him. He went to school with us. Came back to the school a few years after he was graduated. He didn't really graduate, and that was the whole reason why he came back, was because they failed him in his civics class. And he missed graduating with all of his friends. And so he thought that in the downturn in his life, he thought that it was all due to this one teacher. So he came back to the school, open fired in all the classrooms that he could find, killed three of my friends, and the teacher, Mr. Brenz, and shot 9 others, brutally shot them, and held 80 hostages. They did do a movie about this with Freddie Prinze Jr., Henry Winkler, and Ricky Schroeder from Silver Spoons. It's called Target of Rage. It also has another title called Siege at Johnson High. Even though my school's called Lyndhurst High School, it really rocked my community. My little sister was in the school. It happened a year after I graduated, so I was not in the school. But I knew everybody, you know what I mean? And then in my book, I talk about being raised as a 70s, 80s kid. I talk about little things in my book too. Like there's all these little Easter eggs that remind you of the time. I talk about my yellow Formica kitchen. My kitchen was all yellow, like everything. I mean, when we got the microwave, that was brown, but everything, you didn't get the microwave until late, like 80s. And the only thing we knew to cook was hot dogs. It's like, can we cook a hot dog? Stand back. You can't have the radiation, everybody, I
was just going to tell you, the big beast with probably so much radiation coming out for real, because you heard about that, the radiation.
Yeah, the radiation. Stand back, kids, stand back. I'm putting a hot dog in the microwave.
The funny thing for me is like, because dishwashers, I mean, you had one, but it wasn't until we moved, because I grew up in Bakersfield, which is where you live now, that my parents, I said, well, aren't we going to fix the dishwasher so that someone else will buy it and they won't be upset? My parents like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, it's broken. They're like, it's not. Like, we did the dishes for 7 years. My siblings and I, we have the best memories of that, but still, what a lie that we all believe.
That is crazy. Yeah, your dishwasher, your garbage compactor. We all had one of those, garbage compactor, all yellow. The refrigerator yellow, the sink yellow, the counter Formica countertops yellow, and we had dark brown walnut cabinet. So it was like yellow and brown. It was just the whole thing. And then my mom decided to match our couch with with the countertops. So we had this yellow couch that had these ugly brown streaks in it. And then the spindles, we all had the spindles in the kitchen, the window between like separating, the little bars and everything. I put little things throughout the book that remind you of the time that we lived in. Like my mom's Avon brush, I would sing in front of the mirror, listening to Linda Ronstadt with an 8 track, So those are just things that, you'll find throughout the book that I laughed while writing it, while rereading it, while editing it. I laughed and I laughed at myself. I'm self-deprecating in most of it. I talk about like not being pretty. I was born with a lazy eye, so I talk about my surgeries and like I felt deformed, and kids would bully me, call me Popeye, and so I leaned into it. One of my chapters is called "The Popeye Girl." And so I'm kind of like an ugly duckling that grows up and starts to realize that she gets pretty over time. I mean, not that I'm a dish now, but when I was younger, I was like a hot little mama. Story develops from when I was younger all the way up. And I just didn't get along with my mom and dad very well. I was the middle child, even though there was four of us. I had an older sister, then older brother, and then there was me, and then my little sister. So my brother, who is a boy, he's a golden child. He can do no wrong. And then out of the three girls, I was in the center. So I had that middle child syndrome. And so, in fact, on the back of my book, if it says, Marsha, 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 if you understand what that means, then you'll appreciate this book, because literally that was me in a nutshell.
It's so funny because we have similarities. Like I come from three sisters and a brother as well, but the brother was the baby and then I was the baby daughter. So I wasn't the middle child, but I can totally understand my sister, how she feels as the middle child of the girls. So.
And you got all the clothes hand me down like my brother, because he was the closest size to me. So I was wearing boy pants with the patches on the knees because my mom could resist a good knee patch. That was like the wrong color. So like I had these one pants that I thought were really girly and pretty and I loved them. They were red and they had these red satin tulips on the back. My mom put these blue patches on the knees because I skinned my knee. Of course I did, because I was a tomboy. And so I could just remember going roller skating with these pretty pants that my mom would make me have to wear, that had these big, ugly patches on the knees.
Okay, so if you were to talk to my sister, you and she would have so much in common because she talks about she only had one pair of pants and it was a red pair of pants. And so I almost said red and then you said red. I'm like,
I bet you they had the satin little tulips on the butt, on the back pocket. I bet you it was the same pair of pants.
Now I gotta ask her. That's so funny. Like being in California, I mean, that was such a good time. And let's talk about motherhood for a second.
All that came with showed up to me as a stepmom. When I first met him, I fell in love with him because he said, let's go out have breakfast with everybody. And he goes, no, I have to go pick up my daughter. And he said, and she's so much more important than all of you yahoos. And I just melted. I thought, I'm going to marry that man. And I literally said that to myself in my head. And he had a crush on me. I didn't know it. So we just kind of got together. Perfect. And I wasn't sure I wanted to carry the baggage of him with a daughter. And it wasn't the daughter. It was the girlfriend, the ex-girlfriend. Okay. So it was hard. And so, but I thought, okay, we can do this. And it actually grew us closer, going to court, going to court, going to court. I was in labor in court. And we asked her if we could please postpone. And she said no. She didn't believe I was in labor. And I literally was having active labor. And I had the baby like 4 hours later. It was nuts. And so that's kind of I have a story. I could tell you all kinds of stepmom stories. But then we ended up having our first child. And he was the cutest thing ever. He had some heart issue. Well, he had sleep apnea. He had to wear a heart monitor. And so he was in the NICU unit when we first was born. Then my next one, she was born. It was the worst delivery known to man. They bring me into the surgery room, and as they're giving me the epidural and everything, and I go, yeah, that stupid doctor, he just wouldn't take the baby out, and I've been trying for hours. I couldn't do it. And he goes, yeah, that was me. She came out, and she had problems. Her heart, she couldn't keep her oxygen. Her heart was too weak, and we didn't know that she needed open heart surgery. And so we found that out a week after she was born. She was in the NICU unit. Both my kids that I gave birth to ended up in the NICU unit. I don't know what it's like to have a baby and take it home after it's delivered. It's like right in the NICU unit. And so then she needed open heart surgery, we found out. And so during that time, just before she was born, when we moved to Bakersfield from Palm Springs, I started a daycare out of my home and I built it really good. I mean, I was selling it like a rock star. I was a better salesman than I was a teacher, let me just say. So then I decided to build onto the house. We put a 700 square foot room with its own entrance and bathroom. And so that they weren't in the house anymore. They were in their own thing. And so then I had two staff members and we had more kids. And then I had a waiting list, just more kids wanting to come in. So then I decided to purchase preschool at a church, and I had 50 kids there. I had a staff of 8, and I was, again, so many kids, I couldn't keep it. I was so full all the time. So then I had a neighbor that I watched his kid. He said, I have a commercial property and I have this corner, and it would be perfect for a preschool with a play yard, like in the corner, like in the triangle area. So he says, I can give you a 10,000 square foot building and a 30,000 square foot play yard. And he goes, you just have to pay for the inside and all your toys and everything else. And I said, sold. So I didn't know what to do. I didn't know anything about business because, I mean, I was a mom. Yeah, I had a child development degree, but I didn't, and it was an AA. It wasn't like a big degree at the time. And I said, okay, fine. I'm going to teach myself how to write a business plan. And that's what I did. I went on Google and I figured it out all on my own. I created a business plan. It was like 40 pages. And then somebody said, no, that's too much. So then I reduced it down, and I did get an SBA loan, which is a small business administration loan, for $700,000. And I fixed the inside because I have to buy the toilets and put the flooring down and all the things. And I designed the whole building on a napkin. And I said, this is what I want. And I want this. I want windows. I want these toilets. I want this. I want that, da. And so, and I was there every day that they were building and I said, no, the toilets need to be lower. The drinking fountains need to be lower. This needs to be that. And so, I had my hand in everything. I pre-sold my preschool with 140 students before we even opened. And we opened on day 1 with 140 kids. And it was crazy. And I had like 28 staff members, and I had, 140 students that needed lunch, needed snacks, teachers needed breaks. So before I opened the school, I created everything, the policies, the contracts, break schedules, menus for 6 months, just everything you needed to do to get us rocking and rolling. And we were very successful. During that time, it was 2008. And I don't know if you know much about United States, but we were going through a downturn. And so we were good for the first year and a half, and then everybody was losing their jobs. So I went from, at the highest point, we had 188 students to 88 students. And I was having to lay them off, and a lot was happening. And so I ended up, the guy who bought my business, or the guy who was my landlord, wanted to buy my business from the day one. And I was like, no. Finally, my daughter was born with, I knew she was going to need operation, and they said, don't leave her side because she needs to eat. And because these children that have this, they fall asleep when they eat. And so I had to be there for her every second. And I ended up selling the business to my landlord, but he didn't pay me everything. So I literally lost my business, basically. Had I known what I know now, I would have done whatever it took to keep it open. But I gave it away almost just so that I can stay with my kids. And thank goodness, because she had so many more problems. Found out she had cerebral palsy, and she actually has it's called 16P. It's a learning disability, and she's autistic. And it's weird because she doesn't wear it outwardly, but once you start talking to her, you kind of can tell. But like when you look at her, she just looks like a normal, teenage girl. But she needed me. Then I also decided to go back to school. I got a BA in business administration and marketing, and then went on to get, during COVID time, I was working for ABC. It was a local television station. And I ended up getting my master's degree during COVID, like when it was quiet and down. And then I got another job. And then during my lunchtime, I do this.
Oh, so good.
And then I'm writing a book series. So I'm writing a trio romance thriller, and I'm on book 3, but I haven't published them yet because I'm thinking I'm going to publish them all together in like a trio book. I'm considering myself a novelist once it's published. It's really spicy. In fact, when I'm writing it, I'm looking, I'm like, they're not watching me put this down on paper. I have a feeling people read it, they're going to go, man, where's my kids? Okay, keep reading. I think it'll be a good escape. And I think it'll be fun. It's a book about hot firefighter and an ER nurse.
Nice. So are you doing self-publishing, or what are you doing to get it out?
Think this time around, okay, so my first book, Bucket List from a Redneck Girl, was published by Christian Faith Publishing. And I love the experience of learning all of that, but now I want to learn, because like I taught myself how to write. If I can open $1 million business, I can do this. So I'm going to teach myself how to do it all. And I'm going to self-publish, but I'm going to format myself. everything. The only thing I'm not going to do is the cover. I think I might go through like Fiverr for that, or a company that can get me some real pictures of some hot dudes, you know.
Because I actually did the same thing. I did Pages Publishing as my publishing. I opened it myself. I self-published, and it's. I mean, you could do Fiverr with the KDP formatting as well. Just be careful.
Oh, yeah, and I don't want a drawn picture. I want like a photograph type. I want mine to be a little bit different, or I want it to look real. I don't want it to look like a cartoon cover.
So you have, as all entrepreneurs do, your hands are in multiple pots. So what drives you, and how do you not get burned out?
Well, I feel like I'm failing at everything, so I'm not great at everything. So I kind of feel like I'm keep trying on like I feel like I fail as a mom sometimes, I fail as a wife, I fail at my work. But I find it hard sometimes because like even at my jobs, it's like I'm covering for somebody else who's sick that day. So I have to do my job, their job, my other job. Yeah, there's a lot. And the dogs take a lot. I have 3 dogs and they are really trying. And I also do a podcast. So juggling is really, really difficult, but sometimes you just have to give yourself, okay, I'm going to work until this time and I'm putting everything away and I'm turning it off. Even my work at 4 o'clock, I turn them off and I don't look back. I don't do any extra work after 4 for them. I might work on my book. I might do other things. And then my husband, who gets home at 7, I will stop everything I'm doing so that at 6 o'clock I start dinner so that it's ready for when he gets home. And so I have to pace myself and time myself and do everything. But things are falling to the wayside and I acknowledge that. I need to do the laundry. I need to vacuum and dust. There's so much things I need to do. And I just say, I'm going to do them on the weekend. And everybody knows that mom's working hard. And if you want to help, then you can pitch in. Like, you know what I'm saying? But nobody in my family wants to help. My son also has he's still here. He's 25. Failure to launch is a truly thing that happens. My son also has autism. I've had all 3 kids have had something. My stepdaughter has ADHD and depression. My son has Asperger's and depression. And my daughter, who has anxiety through the roof, is like one of her major problems. She doesn't eat solid food. She's still in pull-ups. She's 16. She needs braces. She has a tumor on her back. She has a heart problem where she has open heart surgeries like every 10 years. And she has autism and she has a learning disability. So trying to go to every single one of them have a doctor. For my daughter, every single thing has a doctor that comes attached to it. So I'm constantly having to leave. Like I have to do a lot of things via Zoom if I can so that I'm not leaving for work. Yeah. And it's a lot.
Now, that alone is a lot. So, I mean,
Yeah.
what do you do for yourself to not just go into a fetal position in the corner and start shaking?
And also, I have gotten fat since I've been working most since COVID. I gained a lot of weight and I can't seem to get it off. So I'm trying the GLP-1 thing. I just started it. I'm going to see if that works. So far, it's not done correct for me. But I have a gym in the garage. I just need to do the work. But I'm finding that like, what do I do for myself? I watch TV numbingly and I lay in a lazy boy and I just kind of relax. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that I do, which I shouldn't. I used to be a runner. I ran cross country and track and ran in college. I should get out on the treadmill in my garage and watch TV if I wanted to, but I'm not. I don't know why. I'm failing at my weight loss. Can't help myself.
There's other things because you feel like that's the thing you have control. Like I actually experienced that not too long ago. We have this gym, 2 big screen TVs, right? And there's a tiny uncomfortable couch. You have an elliptical, you have a health rider. I know it's old school, but it works. And then there's a bike and then a pad so I could do all the.
I got weird. The same. Okay. I have an elliptical. I have a treadmill. I have a rowing machine. I have a recumbent bike. Yeah. I have a Smith's machine. I've got all the weights that I need. And my whole side of my garage is all mirrors. And I have a huge TV. And I've got all the posters. Like I even have Farrah Fawcett. I've got Rocky. I've got Lou Ferrigno, all the posters to try to get us all like motivated. And and I even bought a medicine ball. I've got the ropes. I've got kinds of stuff in my gym. And I don't go out there.
Well, for me, I had to set a goal. So mine at the time was I'm going to run a marathon, but before I turned 50, because that's on
my bucket list.
I know
that's on my bucket list.
So I did it. I didn't
Oh,
train very well. You'll have to hear the story about later, but I did it and then I haven't exercised since. So this week I actually got on. I'm like, okay, I'm waking up. I'm gonna get on it and I'm gonna start again 20 minutes. And 20 minutes went into 30 minutes. And I felt so good that entire day. And so I think for people when you're in that feeling, like, and I should write a book about this, it's just 15 seconds, right? Or 15 minutes. Like, I'm going to do anything for 15 minutes. So if that means I'm going to go sit on the bike, because let's be honest, it's the easiest. I just sit there and I can be on my phone. But hey, I did it. And then I wasn't able to walk the next day because of my hip. So, but I did it.
I hate my recumbent bike.
You know,
I hate it. My butt's too big. I'm like, I can't. It's falling off the bike. And my butt's too big for this bike. I'm like, can I just put a pillow down and then maybe I'll ride it? I don't know. The pillow might work. I don't know.
like you gotta sit. There's got to be something. So I'm actually signing up for the same one I did 2 years ago from all of the races. I'm doing the 5K. I'm going to do the 10K, and don't tell my husband this. Hi, husband, but he's not here. I'm considering doing another marathon just because I've got to have something to push me.
Yelling. Hey.
So we're gonna like.
I need to do that. I need to do that. I need to, and I need to be, I need to hold myself accountable. I need to run in a marathon. I used to run 10 miles a day. I used to run a lot.
We need to meet. Like, we're gonna we'll do a 10K. We'll meet somewhere like in Vegas and we'll meet halfway.
I have a timeshare in Vegas, so of course Vegas is fine. I'm only 4 hours away. That Vegas is like a in between.
It is. Well, you're much closer. It's like 7 for me, but that's okay.
Oh my gosh.
So there is this marathon there that I heard is brutal, but you can take as long as you need to. They don't cut you off. I almost did that one before I went.
Is it hot? I mean, is it like what time of year?
I have to look and see. I think it's in September because I was trying to decide between the one
It's hot.
literally you
Like
start
hot.
and it's a mile down, and that's the one I did because I needed help getting my momentum.
Yeah, downhill's always better.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But no, I'm serious. But set yourself a goal, and you need an accountability partner. So I'll be that person.
I do. I am going to Greece in October, so I mean that is my goal, really. But that is almost coming now. It's like it's going to be really close, and I'm still nowhere near getting anywhere. Because I mean, how embarrassing! If I'm going to get on the airplane, I'll be like, can you give me like 3 extenders? Because I need like 3. No, I probably won't need that many, but still.
So.
The one time I didn't say anything, we went on an airplane trip, and I didn't say anything. I thought I'll just sit here and nobody. Because I couldn't buckle, and I thought I just won't say anything. And we started like going forward, and it was like I was like, I'm gonna die because I'm not strapped in.
Oh no.
I thought I was gonna die. I thought, what did I do? I should have totally got an extender for that. But anyways, yeah, wear a seatbelt when you're on the plane, just in case. Just saying.
I went to Greece. We'll talk offline about the do's and don'ts. So
yeah, we're taking a cruise. We're gonna go Venice, and then we're gonna stay a few days there first, and then we're gonna take off and we're gonna hit Santorini, Mykonos, Olympia, whatever. I think we're gonna go into Croatia. I can't remember the name of it. It starts with a D. And then we're gonna end up in we're going to Santorini, and then we're gonna end up in Athens, and we're gonna stay a couple days there, and then fly home from Athens.
The listeners, if you go to Santorini and you go on the little cruise where they take you to the volcano and you can like swim in the volcano, do not sip the water. My husband got so incredibly sick. Like, he didn't even get to go see the Parthenon because he could not leave the hotel room because he was so sick. So yeah, it's orange water. And so just, it's
yeah, don't even drink the water.
Yeah, he didn't
even drink my water here. I drink bottled water. Just saying. By the way, Just Saying is the name of my podcast. It's Just Saying with Jessica Danel. We talk about like parent things. I try to get people that are writing books and dads that are writing books about being a dad. We talk about a lot of stuff. The high school shootings in there. Funny thing is I wrote the book because I have all these things that have happened to me, which we haven't even scratched the surface on half of the things that are in the book. But I wanted to do things that were relating to the book on my podcast. So my parents put me in a drug rehab because they thought I was on drugs. Never have I ever done drugs ever in my life. Like in high school, I was the cross country track and basketball. I was the school photographer. I was on the yearbook. I did the yearbook pictures, and I was on the yearbook, and we wrote for the newspaper. And I was a very popular person. And my parents said, "Yep, that's a drug user," and put me in a drug rehab. And it took 4 days for them to come back. And the reason why they put me in a drug rehab is that my dad had a pamphlet, and in there it says, "Is your teen irritable? is she irresponsible and doesn't join the family, then she's on drugs. And come to find out, I was anemic, so I needed iron. Okay, I just needed iron, and the test results came back, said I'm not on drugs, of course, because I didn't do drugs. I didn't even drink. I had a strained relationship with my parents. They tried really hard, but they failed in a lot of ways. But at the end of my book, I looked at this way. This whole book was helped me like understand a lot about my parents, a lot about myself, and I was able to look back on like, well, like crap. Would I have done that if my daughter was acting that? I don't know, maybe, but my mom and dad didn't have an internet. They didn't have like social groups to talk to or a doctor that was up with what's going on. I was a teenager, and I didn't act like their other kids. I was different because I was hyper and I'm crazy. And because I was withdrawn is because I didn't want to cook for the family. I didn't want to clean and cook for everybody. And I was like the one person that could cook. And so I cooked for everybody. And I thought if I stayed in my room, then I wouldn't have to come out and do the dishes. No, they made me do the dishes.
So I think that because with my book, it took me 2 years to write, and I did so much research for that book, and it healed me. Like I didn't realize how broken I was until I started writing the book, because I'm like, I'm going to help everybody else, and it actually healed me. And so I'm
Right.
just happy a person now. I'm comfortable with myself. Like it's just amazing. Didn't you find that
I
with
think
you?
I think it fixed a lot of things that I thought were broken, but really weren't.
Yeah.
I realized, and my mom and I are great friends. Like we call each other sometimes a day, almost sometimes.
Wow.
I send her money every month. I mean, I must love her. Um, but I'm just saying that like I learned a lot. Like I didn't realize that when my parents plucked me out of public school, put me in private school because I ran away from home and I said I really want to go to private school. Anyway, so they plucked us out of public school and put us in private, and they took all of my siblings out, and they left all of their friends and for me to go to private school. And I never realized until at the end of my book, I'm like, that probably messed them up because they left all their childhood friends to go to private school. And then again, my mom, I got in trouble at school because I didn't do my homework, and my mom and the teacher got in a fight. And my mom says, okay, I'm pulling them out. So then they pulled out my sister, my younger sister, and me. And so then they plucked her out away from her friends again for me. And it didn't really hit me until I wrote the book that even happened. And I just learned. I told some things in the book that I never told anybody before, and those came out, and it felt good to let it go and say the things that I never told anybody, and I said them in the book, and it was a scary thing. And I'm like, Mom, do you still love me? There's some things in there that are deeply personal that I put in there that I don't share with a lot of people, but I put it out there because I wanted to be vulnerable and have courage. But my husband told me, he's like, you could have gone a lot further, Jessica, because my siblings are not the greatest towards me, but I was being gracious in the way because they're still living, but they haven't read my book. I'm sure they haven't, because if they did, they'd probably call me.
So
Like my siblings, we don't talk.
the story that I had in my book, and I don't know if my parents have read my book or not, but I said something, and my mom, she's like, Sharice, that didn't happen. And so I got paranoid, but like, did I remember something wrong? Because this is like
Yes.
a clear memory. So I actually called my sister and I'm like, okay, tell me your version of the story. And she told me, and it was a little different, but like it was the same idea. I'm like, okay, I'm not like it was correct. Because I was ready, like, I got to do second edition and correct this. Now, granted, it's a story you'd never know because I didn't say it was me. I didn't say it was something of the people that were involved. Um, but I had a friend. No, I'm kidding.
My mom told me that didn't happen like that. I go, yes, it did, because of this, and I did this because of that, and I know for a fact that she's older, so I know for a fact she's wrong because I remember it my whole entire life this certain way. And she goes, oh, I'm sure you remember things your way, and it's okay. That's your story through your lens. And I'm like, you're wrong, but whatever.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so yeah.
I,
But there's more to the story that I just didn't tell. And because some of it's not my story to tell. And so, when you have people in your family that are living, it's like you only tell so much, And I come from a small town. And if anybody reads my book, they're like, I never knew that about the Andrew family, you know?
Well, and that's why I talk about flipping the iceberg because, you always think of the Andrew family, right? They were this perfect family that everybody, nothing could have happened. But as soon as you
Right.
go behind that door, it is a whole different world. And that's why I think that we as women, sometimes we tend to compare ourselves, our relationship or our children, and say, oh, my child didn't do this. I wish he would have. Or I wish I had that relationship like they have. I
Right.
promise you that once they shut that door, it is a whole different relationship. Like people, and I talk about this in my book, that it was the perfect family. Like she's beautiful and he is successful. And
Right.
next thing you know, like I'm seeing them. Luckily, it was at a movie theater during COVID, so we had like masks on because I was getting ready to walk up to this guy and say, "Hey, how's it going? Where's so and so?" And right before I did that, he's putting his arm around some other woman. So now I'm thinking, oh, okay, we're having an affair, not knowing that they had just gotten divorced and that like
Uh-huh.
I would never have known that there was any issues because it was the cutest couple with the cutest kids and just watching them.
Right.
And even years later, watching the dynamics of how he's turned out versus how she's turned out, I would have thought it was his fault, you know?
Right. Right. Right.
And
Yeah, a
so,
lot of times we try to blame the man, but a lot of times the girls are a little crazy.
yeah,
Like my husband's ex-girlfriend, they never were married, but she's cuckoo in the head
yeah,
and he knew it and he says, "I don't want anything to do with you." And she's like, "I'm pregnant."
yeah,
And so then he was like, "Okay, let's try." And then so for a while during the pregnancy, just right after pregnancy, he's like, "I really don't want anything to do with you because you were really not all there." And so they split. And then I met him right after that. And so we've been together for 28 years.
yeah.
And Jordan's just turned 32. And so, yeah. So I have all a gamut of age group. So obviously we all are different and
Mhm.
we don't all think the like. And it's very hard as a mom to understand my son who's this way, my husband who's old school, and my daughter who is off in La La Land.
Yeah,
And so it's like, as a mom, it's like, ugh, I'm a juggler.
yeah.
There's a lot to do. Not
Mhm.
only work and trying to pursue being a novelist. It's not about that. It's like I really did it so that my kids would have a piece of me when I'm gone. My podcast, they can come back and listen to mom's
Yeah,
advice and mom's words when I'm not around anymore. And I will be around forever.
yeah.
So,
It's true. It's very, very true.
yep.
Well, how do people get a hold of the book and or you if they wanted to?
Okay, so my book is available just about anywhere there's books sold, like, well, really Amazon, Apple Books, Google Books. But if you want to know a little bit about me, you can go to my website. It's justsaying.net. That's JESSSAYING.net. And you can also go to on my website, you go to podcast, and then you can see a list of all my guests that are either have been on or will be on. And then if you click on their name, it'll take you to their website so you can learn a little bit about the guests that are on my show. And I'm on everything. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, X. My Instagram and my X are not the greatest accounts, but like I don't have a lot of people on them. But I'm working on it. But I have like over 10,000 on my TikTok, and so that's growing. I started in July, and
Wow.
it's growing.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm trying to grow a community of parents and mompreneurs like everybody out there, and podcasters and novelists and book writers and authors and everybody. And I'm loving podcasting because I get to meet so many unique people. Like you and I are like, we'd be besties,
I
like legit.
know. I
If I
know.
lived
I'm
where
like,
we'd have a lot in common. We would run together and I would be there every day. I would never be late. I'm a Virgo, so never would I be late.
so I might be taking a trip with my daughter in April. Now you're giving me a little more incentive. I might have to meet you. So,
Yes. Would be fun. I totally love meeting people and I love podcasting for that reason. And also because I'm a mom, I don't have a lot of friends because I all I do is work like a
and
lot.
you're a mom. Like,
And I'm
it's,
a mom. My
yeah,
kids are my friends. Well, actually, my husband is my best friend.
yeah.
That's the whole key to our relationship of 28 years is we are best friends. He's 6'6", so he's a tall dude, but he used to have a lot of hair, a lot of long hair, and now he's got long hair, and there's not a lot there. And now me, I used to be as really a size 3 and skinny and not so. I'm like 5 times bigger than that, but it's okay. We love each other for who we are, and that's
Mhm.
most important. And our kids are great, and they're all different and unique, and we love them. I have special kids. I can say that for sure. They're all pretty special. They're sweet, and they have a heart of gold. So I'm a lucky woman.
Well, Jessica, you have been so fun. I really do feel like you're my lost sister. So thank you so much for being on.
See, you would be the middle if I was there because
Yep.
actually we'd be twinsies because we're almost the same age.
Yeah. Yep. That's true. We're still older by a little. It's very true. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And moms and entrepreneurs, I hope that you just enjoyed the conversation. It's okay to go and do what you want. And if you don't make money at it, but you're enjoying it, that's a start. And then go out and find your peace, your passion, and purpose, and make it a great day. Beautiful moms, remember, you are unbreakable. Keep illuminating the world with your strength, pursuing your dreams, and reveling in the splendor of motherhood. This is Sharice Walker, bidding you farewell for now. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations on the next episode of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. Until then, keep shining bright. Signing off with love, Sharice Walker.